Hi and welcome to Happy Mouth. Today I'm going to show you how to make a beef stroganoff with mushrooms and carrots. Alright, so I'm going to go through the ingredients first. We've got 2 large carrots, 2 onions, I've got 2 mushrooms. Normally I use a little bit more than that, but that's all I've got today. 1 clove of garlic, about half a cup of plain flour. Now I'm probably not going to use all of this, but I've got half a cup there just in case I do. Some tomato paste, some smoked paprika. Paprika is sort of the main special ingredient in stroganoff, so make sure you get a really good browned one. I've got a smoked one here which I really like the flavour of. Some olive oil, of course. For the meat today I'm using oyster blade steak. Now I've got just over 400 grams here. My husband is the only one who eats the meat from this dish. I normally just eat the mushrooms and the sauce with the carrots and onions. So by all means you can add about half a kilo or a little bit more than that to this recipe if you wish. So that's for the stroganoff. We're also going to be putting water and salt and pepper, of course. Now to serve on top, I'm going to be making a pickle with some parsley, some red onion and some white vinegar. Now this is optional, but it's a really delicious pickle to put on top. Because your stroganoff is really rich, garlicky, and got that really strong beef slow cooked sort of flavour, this is a really good way to cut through all of that richness. And I'm also going to be serving it with some natural yoghurt. So to cook today, I've got my cordon bleu oil skillet. This is a vintage model, I believe. And it's basically just a big pan. I like using this one because I can actually control the temperature. And I can cook it for a long time in this. You can also use just a normal pot or a normal pan, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so I've cut up my carrot and my onion. So my onion I've just done in thick slices, in half and then in thick slices. I've done my carrot in large or thick battens. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mushroom, again, roughly chopped. This is a hearty meal, so you want big mouth-sized pieces. And then my beef I've diced up as well. So we're going to start by coating our beef in some of the flour. So I'm just going to use half of what I've got there, which is about 1/4 cup. And you're literally just coating it. I'm using the tray that the meat came in, so I'm not dirtying an extra plate. And once you've got those all coated, then we're ready to start frying them off. Make sure that your pan and your oil are hot before you put the beef in. So we're going to put some oil in there, that should do. Now I'm going to wait for this to rise in temperature and then we'll throw the beef in once it starts making a sizzling sound when you put it in. So as you can see, there's no sizzling sound or bubbles happening there. Once you can put a piece of meat in and it's bubbling, then you're good to go with the rest of the meat. Alright, so my oil's come up to heat now. And when I press a bit of meat in there, you can see that it's bubbling away and I can hear it making the noise as well. So I'm going to throw all my meat in there. And what you're wanting to do at this stage is brown all sides of the meat. So that one was my test piece that I had in here earlier to see when it came up to heat. And that's what you want all the sides to look like. Nicely browned and toasted. Once that's all brown, keep stirring it around. Then we're going to add in our carrots, onions, garlic, and our paprika and tomato paste. So the meat's nicely brown now, and I've also got a nice thick crust happening on the bottom of the pan, and that's great, you want that. So in go my onion, carrots and garlic. Just give them a bit of a stir. I'm also going to add about 2 teaspoons. I've got a really big mountain of paprika here on 1 teaspoon. And the same of tomato paste, so 1 and 2 generous teaspoons of that, or 4 normal teaspoons. Alright, so now before this gets to the stage where it's burning, I'm going to add my water. And I've got about 2 cups of water here. Just make sure you get all those bits that have caught on the bottom. You want them in the stock to give that flavour. Alright, so my broth or stock now is looking quite watery, so I am going to use that bit of flour that I didn't use to coat the meat with. So I'm just going to sprinkle about 2 teaspoons of that in now, and I'm going to stir that really well. You will get lumps in it, but that's okay because you're going to slow cook it, so it's all going to break down and go into the liquid anyhow. And so you can see already that that's gotten a bit thicker, which is what you want. More of a gravy style sauce. And I'm also going to throw in my mushrooms. So I'll bring that to the boil, and then I'll put the lid on and let that simmer away at about 70 to 80 degrees, which is basically a low to medium heat, for about 1 to 2 hours, and then we'll check back with it. Now's the time to add your seasoning as well, so salt and pepper. Alright, the Stroganoff has been simmering away for about 2 hours now, and I'm really happy with that. The sauce is nice and thick. My meat is really tender, all the vegetables are cooked through really nicely, so I can get on to making my pickle now. So I've got about a cup's worth of parsley, no stalks, just the leaves, and about 1/4 of a red onion here. So I'm going to chop this up nice and finely, and I'm going to slice my onion this way, as thinly as I possibly can get it. So just take your time with that one and get it as thin as you can. Parsley is chopped up and in a little dish. I've got my red onion sliced as thin as I could possibly get it with this knife, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pop that in. And now we're just going to add our white vinegar. Not too much, you just want it to come up sort of halfway up into the ingredients there. And now you're just going to use your fingertips to scrunch in all that vinegar into the parsley, into the red onion. Now you could serve this immediately, but it's a bit better if you leave it for 10 minutes or so. If you're worried about the smell getting on your hands of the onion, or even when you're chopping garlic, a little trick is to just rub your hands onto something that's stainless steel, so it can be a spoon that you've got, or the tap itself, or your sink, and that should get rid of most of the smell of the garlic or onion. Alright, so I'm going to serve this Stroganoff now with rice. You could also serve it with mashed potato or pasta if you wish. Some nice warm polenta would also be delicious. So this recipe is enough for 4 people. If you were serving 4, I would probably add a little bit more meat than what I have now. Like I said earlier, my husband's the only one that's going to be eating the meat in this dish today, so that's why I've reduced it. So use at least 500 grams if you're serving it with the meat for 4. And here is the finished product. So I'm going to put a dollop of my natural yogurt on top. Make that 2. And some of the pickle. And that's done.